couple of minutes. See if we're live.
Yep.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the Isaac Boys podcast. Dwayne the Ghost alongside Terrorizing. Coming at you guys with episode 90. Episode 90?
90. We'll call it episode 90.
We'll call it episode 90.
The reason
There's a story there.
there's a story there, but before we get into the story, I just want to welcome everyone to our premiere, our first video podcast.
First video podcast.
We've been calling for it for a long time now. A lot of people have been asking us to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We decided now was the best time, and all the things were in place. So we got everything dialed in,
Yep.
our audio dialed in. Everything is perfect.
Should be perfect.
So
barring any hiccups.
So welcome everyone to our video podcast.
And also, first episode of season 3 as well.
First episode of season 3.
Which this is the new change for season 3. Obviously, we're doing video. And I know you guys missed us. A lot of people were actually concerned if we're,
If we're still
are we
doing
quitting the podcast?
Mhm.
Are we coming back? Definitely not quitting the podcast. I think we can do this for years to come. Obviously, we love doing it, and the people enjoy it, so we'll continue to do it. But first episode of season 3, of course, this new change. It's gonna be interesting. See how things actually turn out of this recording and video and
we
all
actually haven't been on camera for quite some time.
that. Yeah,
It's been a minute. We haven't really done any vlogs or anything like that.
yeah. Which we people miss the vlog too as well, which we should be doing more of. Eventually we'll get back to it.
We're getting back into the swing of things. Last year it's had a lot of hiccups.
A lot of hurdles to overcome, but
Here we are.
here we are still doing the damn thing.
So yeah, for those of you that are probably new to our podcast, and maybe this might be your first experience of the podcast, or first viewing of the podcast, if you're viewing it on YouTube, welcome. We are Dwayne and Dwight Isaac, Dwayne the Ghost,
Alongside Terrorizing.
and yeah, essentially our podcast is filled with a lot of gaming news, a lot of nerd culture, and
Also because we are posted here in the Virgin Islands, we do have a video game lounge here in the Virgin Islands, and for those of you that have been on this ride with us forever, we like to update you guys with everything that's going on to kind of make you guys feel like you're part of it, because you in retrospect you actually are. A lot of you guys been on this ride with us for the years that we've been doing this thing. So
been supporting us for a long time, and
Yep.
your support has helped us get where we are today. So
Yep. All the support, for those of you that support us on Patreon, for those of you that are, listening on Anchor and you support us directly there or on Spotify, we do appreciate all that support. And this is what got us to this point,
So here we
which
are. Yeah.
this is going to be awesome.
So yeah, just to give you guys a quick lounge update, for those of you that are living on St. Thomas, we do own the Videogame Lounge. A lot of fun things to do there. If you're probably wondering what a video game lounge is, it's essentially a place you can come, kick back, enjoy, this medium that we love, which is video games.
Yeah, just kick back and play some video games.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, but we also do have a couple other offerings, of course. We do have guys coming through to play Magic the Gathering, guys coming through to play Dungeons and Dragons, and
Guys
coming through to play Yu-Gi-Oh!
Mm-hmm.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is pretty big here on Island, apparently. Never knew that until we opened the lounge.
Never knew that.
But
I mean,
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is great.
it's kind of strange because we don't play
Any of those?
Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh, but people do, and
Yeah.
we support it.
We support it. I like to watch it too. I like to watch the D&D and the the Yu-Gi-Oh! All that stuff.
It's fun, it's fun. I mean, nerd culture is always fun. We're a bunch of adults, get to pretending to be children again. So
Yep, never grow up.
never grow up. That Peter Pan lifestyle.
Peter Pan lifestyle. But yeah, to give you guys an update, of course, this is February. We're pretty early in February. We do have quite a bit going on. We're coming out of January, which is our first month of the year. We got COVID kind of spiked a little bit coming to the end of it, but all things considered, pretty solid month in January. February rolling up, it's just setting up to be another great month. It's a shorter month, but it's setting up to be such a great month as well, because we do have like birthday parties and things like that set up, which for those of you that are unaware, we do host birthday parties here on island. So for those of you that want information on that, you can always hit us up.
Mm-hmm.
See how you can get your party here. And not just, parties for kids, but also young adults and things like that too as well. Teenagers. Any kind of gathering if you need a space with some, nice lights.
Some music.
Some music. It's a pretty comfortable space. You can decorate it how you want. And, yeah, it's centrally located, so we do get quite a bit of business that way, so.
Not hard to find.
Not hard to find at all.
On top of that, we also do sell a bunch of anime collectibles, aka toys, for, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, people in Virgin Islands, they just look at it as it's just toys, you know what I mean? It's an easy way to explain what it is without, going into too much detail. We sell toys.
Yeah,
but
video game and anime.
Video game and anime collectibles, figurines, stuff like that. And they've been pretty popular. We've been doing very well with them, We do got expanding from many different animes and stuff like that. So if that kind of stuff floats your boat, it's the only place you can get them on island. So
yeah, stop on by. See what we got.
And the stock is always changing. We're always bringing in new stuff. We always like to listen to, what people like, what people are interested in. And, we've actually done special orders for people as well. So if there's an anime that you like and, you'd like, to commemorate, you watching that anime with a nice little, something on your mantle, let us know. We can help you find something.
Yep. And
our prices are very competitive. I've looked at, things that we sell here on other websites, on, wherever I can find them on the internet, and our prices are, I'm almost wondering maybe if we're underpricing things.
Yeah, because there's an expectation that people, expect things in the Virgin Islands to cost more.
And we're just good guys, we're just good guys, maybe equal to bad businessmen. I don't know, but
well, it's also our demographic too as well. We got to make sure.
Yeah, we got to make sure.
Outprice ourselves out of the market as well.
Yeah.
So,
and that being said, that lets you guys know that we're giving you guys, good prices, competitive prices. I would say very competitive prices.
Yep, and to continue on that note of anime, we also do anime showings as well. For those that are into anime, of course, you can stop by. Generally, we do that on Sundays, but that can change depending on the date. But generally on Sundays, show whatever anime movies, or we can start a series, however you guys want to do it, to eventually to fully flush out our anime club, which is still in the works.
Yeah, in the works. I think we pretty much got.
It's pretty much dialed in.
We just got a few more things to nail down, iron out, and we'll be good to go.
Yep.
But enough about the lounge.
Getting into this gaming news, it seems like I know most of you are aware of it, and this is kind of one of our, if you've been following the podcast a long time, one of our favorite topics that we used to cover for quite some time, very early on in the podcast days, was console wars, which was, of course, with all the consoles that were, on the horizon and everything that was coming out. We always covered it and brought all the latest news, all the things that we're hearing and all the gossip and all that. Looks like console wars are back and in full swing. I'm on the vein, I side with Xbox in most cases.
We both do.
I don't like console wars too much, but it seems to be alive and well. Personally, I wish everything would just be, whatever across the board.
Mm-hmm.
You can play whatever game you want on whatever console you want. Ideally, that's what I would. But I mean, I don't mind the exclusives either. But I don't like what's happening right now.
Yeah, right now, and what we're drawing reference to is there's a lot of big acquisitions being happened. That's taking place.
It's a lot of land grabbing that's happening right now.
Yes,
and it could spell detriment to the game. Well, not really. I shouldn't say detriment. It's going to change the gaming scene moving forward in the future, very near future.
It could. Right now, it hasn't, but the potential is there, and it's a little worrisome. I mean, some people look at it as worrisome. Some people like this sort of thing, and some people like the smoke, like the animosity. For like you said, I prefer the Xbox the way it's laid out in the UI and everything. And I just, we've just always been Xbox fans for a long time. 90% of the island is pretty much
PlayStation.
So
yeah. and most players, there's a lot of PlayStation has its core group.
Yeah.
Has its following, and they've been doing it for a long time. So, as they should, right? They've been in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say the longest because Nintendo has, but
they've been in the game longer than Xbox has.
Longer than Xbox has.
But yeah, getting into the acquisitions, essentially, I mean, Xbox. Last year we already covered that they did the big acquisition of Bethesda, and that was Bethesda. If anyone's familiar, is the company that does Fallouts and Skyrim, Elder Scrolls. They do a bunch of games. They're actually their next game that's coming out is supposed to be an PlayStation exclusive, which is Tokyo Wire. Tokyo Ghostwire.
It's Ghostwire Tokyo. If I'm mistaken.
Ghostwire Tokyo. Those 3 words are in the title.
But yeah,
should know better.
That's a Bethesda game, correct?
That is a Bethesda game, and that is a PlayStation exclusive. But that company is owned by Xbox, so that's showing that Xbox did keep their word that they will uphold the contracts. But that being said, that's Bethesda's old news. What we're here to talk about is, of course,
Activision
acquisition by Microsoft. Microsoft, which is the Xbox parent company, has now acquired Activision, which is the parent company for the critically acclaimed Call of Duty series and many other games that
such as Overwatch,
such as Candy Crush, such as World of Warcraft, such as we can go on and on and on. Activision has been one, if not the biggest gaming studios for a while now. And they were they're their own thing, and they did a lot of acquisitions themselves. That's why they're so huge. And it's literally one of the most what's the word I'm looking for? Most lucrative business
acquisitions, pretty much.
Yeah,
for Xbox. Yep.
Because again, Call of Duty series, which is huge. It's across the board, all consoles. One of the most played games. I mean, not only on island, but everywhere. Worldwide.
Every year, and they bring out a new one every year.
Every year, there's a new Call of Duty.
Still continue to do good numbers, which the last one didn't do so great, but
yeah,
Warzone is still
still
a hit.
It's gonna continue to be a hit for next couple of years. I foresee. You know what I mean? Warzone isn't going anywhere, but now this company is owned by Microsoft. So what does that mean for PlayStation owners? Well, if you listen to everything that Microsoft is saying, it doesn't mean anything. It's just business as usual. Xbox like to play.
They play ball.
But they put themselves in a position where
if push comes to shove, they don't have to.
Exactly. And with acquiring Activision. Also we also forgot to mention games like Diablo.
Yeah. Diablo falls under there.
All those games, are now under the Microsoft Studios banner.
Which is interesting because, like you were saying, it right now it doesn't mean anything. It means that they're just owned by Microsoft, and like they said before, they're going to continue to uphold all the contracts and everything. But like we said, they put themselves in a position where they may not have to. But what this could spell for Xbox is more value to programs like Game Pass.
Yes.
Like PC Pass. These programs can now potentially see these major titles for no extra additional cost.
Yep. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Game Pass is the
subscription program
service
Xbox has.
Subscription service on Xbox. You pay $15 a month, and you get a library of games you can download at your leisure.
Some games, day one as they drop, as they're launched, you get that full access to it.
All the Xbox exclusive games are most often day one launches on Game Pass.
Like your Halo, your Forza, all that was
all that good stuff. Your Gears of War, whenever it does come out, the new one, So now think of adding all the Activision games to there. Your Call of Duties, your Overwatch, your Diablos. So that's gonna be tremendous value. Tremendous value for Game Pass.
100%, and like if for being a subscriber myself, that's huge. Because now games like like Overwatch, that we always said before. If you listen to the podcast, we've always said before that it should have been on Game Pass. It should have been on Game Pass. It would get so much more popularity because it's still somewhat of a niche game. More so. You find more PC players than anything else.
There's more PC players on Overwatch than any other platform.
But having Overwatch on Game Pass would be huge.
It opens it up a lot.
100%. And I'm just looking forward to seeing that kind of value, and even like the new Diablo when it comes out, being on Game Pass. It's gonna be great.
And what does that mean for PlayStation? I mean, unfortunately, there's not a Game Pass for PlayStation, or they're working on something.
They're not an equivalent, yeah.
But obviously, Microsoft holding the rights to these games now. Even if PlayStation does come up with their own Game Pass, Xbox doesn't have to play ball. They don't have to put their. They can keep those exclusive rights. Like they can say the game. Yeah, like the game definitely can be for PlayStation, but the rights to the subscription, like
streaming,
streaming like your Game Pass, they could hold on to that. They could hurt PlayStation that way
and have all PlayStation players pay for
the game,
which they're used to. I mean, everyone's used to paying for their games on PlayStation right now, so it wouldn't be much of a change.
Yeah,
it would just be more value on the Xbox side.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. Essentially they're changing the gaming landscape in that sense, where Game Pass is definitely. If you weren't paying attention to it before, you're definitely paying attention to it now.
And not to mention all the titles that the Xbox has coming out in the future. It's generally great, but PlayStation has not. They're not taking it lightly.
No,
they've started to do their own acquisitions as well, and they did a major one recently, and they said more are to come.
That's what they said.
Which again, it's like a land grab now. And it's starting to get a little touchy because now. I mean, granted, no one can be a monopoly because there's competition, but it's kind of forcing you to be on either one side or the other. So the major acquisition for PlayStation, which and they said it wasn't in retaliation to what Xbox did, but
whatever.
It's obviously
it was in clear retaliation for multiple reasons.
They acquired a former Xbox studio, Bungie, who were one of the first studios for Xbox, who created titles like Halo and all those others, and Destiny. It's now PlayStation Studio.
Yes, now part of PlayStation Studio.
Now, obviously, Bungie doesn't have rights to Halo anymore. They've
sold it to 343 Industries. So, that's not. It doesn't affect Halo per se, but it is like a little jab.
Yeah.
Because when you think Bungie, you think Xbox. And now that's no longer the case, and for a lot of the new gamers probably are not even familiar with Bungie being part of Xbox because it's been so long since they've been a part of them. But it's for some of us that's been around for a while, it's like it doesn't sit well with me for some reason.
They created Halo. This is how Halo came to be. So it's interesting to see that's the They say it's not a retaliation, but that's
it's in clear
the
retaliation.
First one they went after.
It's in clear retaliation, and they say more is to come. I'm hearing a lot of different rumors of what the others may be. I'm hearing Konami. I'm hearing Capcom. I'm hearing Sega.
Capcom and Sega I can see for sure. Because Capcom has always played ball with them. With the PlayStation side of things, with Street Fighter and everything. Street Fighter has always been kind of an exclusive anyway. But those would be some major blows.
Those would be some major blows. I've also heard Square Enix. But
and those companies fit.
Exactly, they fit. That's why those would be like obvious ones, if you will. If you look at the Final Fantasies for the longest time has been for PlayStation, at least early on. Recently, now they're on both. But I could see Sony grabbing Square for sure. That would make sense to me. But it would be so messed up if Xbox did that. Like, oh, you want to grab Bungie? You're going to grab Square because that's a retaliation.
And again, these are things I don't want to see.
Yeah, it doesn't need to happen. It doesn't necessarily hurt the gamer per se, because it's like, at the end of the day,
you're gonna play what you want to play.
But
the average gamer, the people that don't have the budget to get every console that comes out and things like that, those are the people I feel the most sorry for, because you're kind of forcing them to choose, which maybe they're chosen already, but it's gonna hurt them for example, if I'm on PlayStation and I'm a huge Call of Duty fan, that's all I play on my PlayStation. If push comes to shove and now PlayStation's now Xbox exclusive, what do I do?
What do you do?
You have to buy an Xbox now. Especially imagine that's your only game that you play. There are some people that only play one or two titles. And if Call of Duty is your main thing, Warzone is your main thing, you're either going to do it on a PC or you're gonna have to go on the Xbox.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't.
Same thing goes for Destiny as well. If it does come to that.
If it does come to that, I don't. Right now, it's not there yet, and I hope it never reaches that point. But I think right now, Xbox is, or Microsoft, I should say, is maneuvering themselves in a position where, they're forcing you to play ball. You know what I mean? So it's like they're not. It shows some of the business mindset that they have. They're still everybody's friends, everybody's all hands, but don't mess with me because they know I have some
major cards.
I got some, I have ways to hurt you. So it's an interesting move, and for a lot of people don't even know this, but this PlayStation Xbox beef has been going on for a long time, longer than we even realized.
Since the inception of Xbox, this Sony and Microsoft beef has been going on a long time. And we learned that recently, courtesy of the Xbox documentary. For those of you that are unaware, there's a 6-part series. You can get it on YouTube or on Xbox, video, where they show the making of Xbox and how everything came to be. And this beef has been going on for a long time, and it's obviously still alive and well, which is it's whatever.
Yeah, if you're a gamer and you care about this kind of stuff, definitely check out that
the documentary. It's worth it.
It's definitely informative.
For sure.
Gives you an idea of where all this beef kind of started.
Yep. Well, it's gonna be interesting to see how things progress and play out. Hopefully, hopefully the gamers aren't hurt in the long run. This whole thing.
I think we should be all right. But you never know these days.
Never know.
In the business world, sometimes the consumer may be the last thought. You know what I mean?
Yep. That's what it is. But of course, we'll continue to bring that. Any news come of any new console war news, any of that, we'll be sure to cover that and bring that to you guys. So you can definitely subscribe if you want to get all the news on that in podcast format. But moving right along, season 12 of Apex Legends is right around the corner. And this is probably one of the bigger launches of seasons that they've done in a long time. Of course, not only are they're making there's a bunch of changes. A lot of the information is out. As far as what guns are going into drops, which guns are coming out of the drops, which guns are not they're not only going to be not in drops or not on the map, but you have to craft. There are some guns that are going to be craft only now.
Interesting.
Which is going to be super interesting. But I'll cover as much of that's relevant as possible because I don't want to bore you with all the details of the season launch.
Some of this information I don't even know. So,
but the major thing, of course, that's everyone's talking about is the new game mode, limited time game mode, which we do foresee it being an additional game mode, kind of like what Arenas is, which is going to be a new way to play Apex that we've never seen before.
Which I can definitely welcome because with BR and Arenas, even though they're great, it's we've been playing BR forever now.
We've been playing BR forever, and BR will always have a special place in Apex. It's the core way to play Apex. But the Arenas was a good change because you can just drop in and just play Apex the way with your squad. But what I think is you're gonna see now is you're gonna see people getting better now at a quicker rate in Apex because of this new game mode. And Arenas kind of started it because now you can just play a bunch of games and you can get into battles and you can get better that way. But now with this new 9v9 game mode, which is going to be kind of like Domination / King of the Hill type thing, more like Domination, where there's going to be 3 points. You're going to have a squad of 9 versus a squad of 9, and you got to capture points, secure the points, kind of a thing. It's going to be interesting because we've never seen squads this big in Apex.
And what you haven't mentioned yet is respawning.
Yeah,
this is the biggest part. This is to your point. People getting better. You're now able to respawn.
Unlimited. So you're gonna be able to get into a fight, lose, you come right back into the fight and kind of figure
learn
out
from your mistakes.
Yeah. So people are gonna get a lot better, I think, in Apex. You see a lot more competition that way. But also, there's gonna be the first time where you're gonna have multiple of the same character on a squad. Which again is going to open up the door for so many different options. You can have squad. I mean, I don't know if they're going to limit it to a certain amount of number, or you can do an entire squad of maybe caustics and just gas out the entire map,
or a bunch of ramparts and just Sheilas.
it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be ridiculous. I don't know what the limit's gonna be, but it's gonna be interesting to see how all these different ults are gonna play, and how building your ult, how that's gonna play. If it's gonna, are they gonna scale it because of the way the game mode is, or how they're gonna fine tune it. But holding points, I know it's gonna be ridiculous. It's probably gonna be pretty hard to hold points considering all the ults.
But I mean, one cool thing that I like about this kind of game mode, it does every archetype of characters can get their shine, if you will, because you have your defensive characters, you have your offensive characters, you have your scouts. Each have a role to play now, in a sense. Before, I felt like it kind of catered more so for maybe the offensive or the scouts kind of thing. Like your defensive characters, like for instance for Caustic, even though he does have he still has a high pick rate amongst top level.
Yeah.
I still felt like they could do more to put them in more favorable positions. Like now you have to, if you're defending a point, you leave your defenders there. You know what I mean? Yep. Offensive guys, your goal is to go capture points. Defensive guys, you stay back, hold it down. You have your Watsons, you have your Caustics. We lock down the point. This is our point now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it gives. It's so interesting now. It gives you so much. I think it's gonna be the premier way to play Apex
going forward.
To me easily. I mean, the only thing is with the whole lore of Apex, BR is it. You know what I mean? It's essentially that's what the
story and everything has.
Everything falls behind the Apex games, which is a battle royale.
Yeah.
But with this kind of mode, it does change things, and I like it a lot. I mean, we haven't even played it yet to know if we're gonna like it, but I like what I'm hearing.
From what I've seen, what I've heard, it looks like it's gonna be great. And who knows? Maybe in the future when Apex has a bunch of characters, maybe it's only one character. You won't only pick one.
That's gonna be tough, but whoever gets to them first, kind of thing.
Well, we'll see, but it's gonna be interesting. But for right now, it is a limited time mode, so it's only gonna be available for a limited time. Unfortunately,
we're gonna have to play it every day in that time.
But there are speculation that it's gonna be
a permanent mode,
like Arena. So that's gonna be cool.
I mean, the different options. The sky's the limit. I mean, with the what you can do.
Yep. But also, new character, which is Mad Maggie, which is the childhood friend of
Fuse.
Mr. Fuse. So she's quite an interesting character. I mean, she shares a silhouette with Bangalore, kind of.
Yes, and
doesn't have the similar hairstyle, but she does have broader shoulders, I guess, like bigger upper body, so you can kind of.
That was my thing. Like prior to Mad Maggie, each character had their own identifiable, unique silhouette. And in a game like that, like also in a game like Overwatch, you need those differentiating silhouettes to know, okay, who's around the corner when you do, view them through the wall via, Bloodhound or whatever. It's having unique silhouettes is important in a game like this. And now you have two characters with very similar silhouettes. I'm like, I don't know.
It's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be interesting.
But her movesets are pretty cool. She is definitely an interesting character. She can be offensive, but she's very much a movement character. Like when she her passive, when she has a shotgun in hand, she moves faster. Kind of like your Bangalore when she's being shot at.
That much faster, huh?
I don't know if it's that. It's I know it's significant, so it could be that much faster or maybe slightly slower. But yeah, she moves faster with a shotgun in hand. So you got to get out of there. If you got to move, you could pull your shotgun. You can
get out of there.
You can get out of there, or you can get in.
Well, I wonder if it's faster than not having a gun out.
That is a very good point.
Because usually when you put your gun away, you move faster. But in her case,
but I think it's gonna be. I think it is gonna be faster with her gun out. So that's gonna be
interesting.
Yeah, she's gonna be very offensive in that regard, but also movement. So pairing her with like a Bangalore or like a Octane, I think that's gonna be great. Also, her tactical is a very interesting one. It unfortunately she becomes a direct, counter to Gibby. Because her move does stick on Gibby shields.
Oh.
Yeah, so what it is, it's a attachment that she shoots out, sticks to walls, and anything on the other side of that wall gets blazed with fire.
Mm.
Now I don't know how much damage it does, so that's gonna be interesting to see how they do it. I don't know if it's gonna be like a set. Well, it looks like a stream of damage. It doesn't look like it's just gonna be a hit.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to move, kind of like caustic gas, if you will. But that's gonna be tough, because if you throw a caustic ult on a Gibby shield and then that, you're getting damage inside the Gibby shield. When you come out, you're getting caustic ult. I feel sorry for Gibby. Like he's
Yeah, I think they made it. I think they kind of made it like that for Rampart because, you know.
Yeah, Rampart as well. Yeah,
she has a very high pick rate,
and her shields are pretty strong.
Her shields are, because when they made them stronger, now they have to make a counter to them pretty much.
Yep.
But it almost is it counter to the point where it's even, I wouldn't say it's unusable, because it's not everyone's gonna pick the new character, but it does give you some utility there.
Mm-hmm. So that's gonna be cool.
Well,
but it does warn you though. From the videos I've seen, there's like because it sticks on and it drills. So I'm sure there's an audio cue.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a visual. You can see like a laser beam kind of sticking on the other side. So once you see that laser beam on your other side, you better move.
And not only shields and stuff like, but also walls, doors.
Walls, yeah. So if teams are like blocking doors and trying to heal up, you can shoot it on that. You can down people or finish off down opponents through on the side. It's gonna be interesting. But her ult is also equally as interesting, because she pulls out this ball that she throws. That as it's rolling, it's like a wrecking ball. So as it's rolling, it's dropping speed boosts. So her team can be tracking the ball in the draft of the ball, and they can be getting a speed boost the whole way until the ball hits whatever and explodes or do whatever it does. So if you gotta get out of there, that's gonna be great for that. Or let's say you can use an Ash ult, then hers, and then a Wraith kind of thing, and you can be gone.
You can get out of there.
Or even like an Octane, even to get out of there, you can really get out of there.
So that's a lot of mobility. All those names you just called there.
Yeah, there's a lot of utility, a lot of mobility there. So it's gonna be interesting to see how she's definitely a game changer in a lot of different ways. So it's gonna be interesting to see how she plays. I definitely can't wait to pick her. But yeah, we'll see. I think it's dropping next week. Next week, season 12 drops. So I always complete all the battle passes. So looking forward to going through this one. But also a few changes that are coming. The alternator's coming out of drops. So that's good. We get the alternator again.
I almost forgot about that gun.
Because no one's gonna get a chance to really use it like that. Unless you're playing BR, you don't really get a chance to really use alternator, unfortunately. But alternator is coming back out of drops, but the vault is going into drops. So the vault SMG will now be in the care package drops, which is gonna be interesting. Now, like I mentioned before, there are gonna be two guns that are gonna be craft only, and one of them, unfortunately, is getting a nerf. Which it's whatever. The flatline is gonna be craft only, so you're gonna have to go to the replicator to create a flatline, which is kind of a good thing because you can get a flatline whenever you want now. But it's been nerfed, so how good it'll actually be?
How bad of a nerf?
I don't remember the details on it, but I think it's a damage nerf.
That gun needs to feel pretty.
It was pretty powerful, so. Maybe it was needed.
Powerful. It was just a
balanced. It was very good, yeah. But we'll see how good it is now and how much people actually use it. But whenever you need a gun, you can just craft one now. You don't have to look for one. And also the longbow. Longbow will be a craft only weapon as well, so that's gonna be interesting. I didn't hear anything about a nerf, but I'm guessing that may be the case as well. Time will tell. We'll see. But those are two guns you have to go to the replicator to make now. So that's gonna be interesting. And there was something else, but I can't remember right now. But yeah, these are some of the major things that's coming for Apex Legends Season 12, which is gonna be great. Oh, and also this season we are getting Crypto is getting a buff.
I've seen some of it.
I haven't seen anything, but
you haven't seen it.
But I've heard the utility is that he'll be able to
you can stick your drone against walls and stuff like that. I saw a video. I don't know if it was I didn't really
Check the authenticity.
check it out, see if it's authentic. It looked pretty authentic,
But it's actually sound like what I heard anyway.
but it sounds like, for one, his drone has like a follow mode. It looks like,
I heard that as well. That was a rumor I heard. That it was gonna have a follow
because the
mode.
video I saw, he threw it out and then he started walking and it was like in front of him, and he just kept moving with him.
That's
and I
gonna be
was like,
great for crypto players.
What? And he could always switch to it whenever he needed. There was one where I saw that he threw it on the wall, and it went like he threw it on a wall inside the building, outside the building, and then he decided to, run inside the building, and while he's inside the building, doing whatever, he's like, oh, let me just switch to my drone, see what's going on, outside, And it was 'cause I guess the drone being on the outside, you can still pick up if enemy moving. So once he gets that pickup, you can just pull out your drone, see what it is.
It's gonna be great. Crypto is one of my top 3 picks, so this is gonna be great for me. And it does give crypto something what he's always needed, because the problem with crypto players, like, there's a very clear line between a good crypto player and a bad crypto player, and it comes down to how you use a drone. A bad crypto player stays in the drone way too long when your team needs you and you're just not there. That's a bad crypto player. A good one, he uses the drone, you set up, and he's back in the field. And the drone's there. It can be distracting for the team. They can turn around to shoot it, and you get their back or whatever. But you got to utilize a couple of things when it comes to crypto. But having those functionality, like the follow, that just sounds great. I love it. But we're also getting a crypto heirloom as well. So his heirloom is going to be the one for this season.
Oh yeah.
Which is going to be like a sword.
Oh, it is. So it is going to be a katana like.
Kind of katana looking sword. It's going to be cool. I think it's going to fit. There's only one crypto skin I've ever used, and I think it's going to look great with a sword. So I'm looking forward to that. Playing a lot of crypto. I gotta beef with my crypto. I like, this last season Watson got her shine, and Watson is great now. But I still haven't picked her as much as I thought I would. But Watson is great now. I've seen I've gotten to fights with the Watsons that pull up that barrier in the middle of a fight and slowed you right down. And you're like, it sucks. But yeah, her barriers come up pretty instantaneously now. So as before, you don't have to boop boop, and then it just it's like it's great.
Interesting.
So Watson's great now, which is another one of my picks. She's not my top 3 pick, but she's definitely top 5 pick for me.
And unfortunately, Caustic is getting a nerf.
Caustic is getting a nerf, which is sad. It doesn't need to happen, but I think they're doing it in regards to this new mode that's coming. Because having too many Caustics on a team could be a problem. And I think this is how they counteract that problem. But it sucks because Caustic isn't really that big of a problem. He used to be. And they just keep nerfing him into the ground. But so apparently now his gas traps will be able to be destroyed, even though gas is coming out of it. So before, once gas come out of it, it just stays there, shoots out gas. But now, even though it's shooting out gas, you can shoot the bottom, down it, it's gone.
Now, to me, that would only make sense if those gas really did good damage. You know what I mean? If the gas was doing significant damage, then yeah, that would make sense. If you stay there and take that damage, you deserve it.
Yeah, but now people just walk through gas at this point, and now they don't have to anymore.
It's gonna be tough. It's hard for us Caustic players. I'm hoping they increase it. I'm hoping they use that as an excuse to increase the damage. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping when this actually goes live, they're like, hey, yeah, we also increase the damage because blah blah blah. I'm like, oh, that'll make me so happy.
Yeah, because gas is. It is a factor, but it's almost a non-factor.
Exactly.
It's like right there on the edge. Could very easily become a non-factor.
But it's one of those hard things to what's the word I'm looking for?
Adjust. Account for.
It's one of those hard things to make okay. Because it's either overpowered or too weak. You know what I mean? You have to tread that very thin line of, how do we adjust this?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I get it, but I think that would be the way to do it. Like you can shoot down the cancers, but let them do some good damage. I mean, you have other people with very damaging tacticals.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Like
Fuse.
Fuse is very damaging, of course.
You know.
Yeah.
So why not?
I hear that. I hear your argument, but
That's what I'm saying.
time will tell. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Season 12. Also another game looking forward to, which is coming out very soon as well. I'm remember the date. King of Fighters.
King of Fighters 15 is coming out, I think, on the 14th, which is Valentine's Day.
There you go. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
You got your girl on one hand and you got King of Fighters on the other. I mean, for those of you that are not too hip with the King of Fighters, it's a great fighting game that we grew up on.
Mm-hmm.
And we played every last one of them.
Every last one of them.
So for King of Fighters fans, this is huge. 'Cause this is going to be like the one of the first major King of Fighters in a long time, I would say. Because some others, they had good launches, but they weren't.
14 was, a step in the right direction, but
Mhm.
15 improved on everything 14 didn't do well, pretty much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and the roster is great.
the roster's going to be nice and big. Tons of characters. There's alternate costumes now for those characters. So it's a lot of things going on in King of Fighters. And looking forward to the next gen iteration of King of Fighters. Again, the roster is huge. And saw a very enticing video the other day about the DLC that's going to be coming out.
Yeah, DLC looks
Yes, and they have the next 2 DLCs already planned.
already lined up.
Boom, boom. And both look great. Can't wait for either one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only imagine what the future will bring. You know what I mean? There's so much possibilities of different characters.
And there's even alternative, versions of characters. Like for example, the Terry,
Mm-hmm.
the Goro Terry is, like he actually does different animations from his moves and and things. It's great.
Yep.
He plays like Terry, but it shows the attention to detail. They didn't just give both of them the same animations for the most part. They made the consideration that this is a different Terry, and I mean I think he has more or less the same moves, but it's different animations for some of them, which is cool.
And they have classic Leona skin as well. There's another.
Yeah, which is great.
I'm not sure to get the classic Leona, but I know to get the classic Terry, you had to pre-order the game, which I did.
Yeah.
So definitely got that. Looking forward to that. And definitely looking forward to the DLC.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Because of course they're introducing some characters that we've only seen in one game,
Mm-hmm.
which is Garo, Mark of the Wolf, which is another classic fighting game that we played a lot of.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're introducing those characters now into KOF. Some of them for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
For example,
B Jeanette.
B Jeanette.
Gato was in, I think, 13, I think he was.
Yeah, he was the one before.
Yeah.
But also Rock Howard.
Rock Howard finally making his
Finally
KOF debut.
Long awaited. Everyone's
Very
been waiting for
popular character. That's going to be exciting.
very classic SNK design for him. Like
Exactly.
he's a classically SNK design.
And I'm
character.
glad they didn't change it.
Yeah, because they could have easily changed his look, but then they kept it classic to Rock Howard.
It's
And
like, why change it? It's such a great design. Why change it? Everybody else, like for instance, K49 got a big change, but
I can see Rock being a fan favorite.
he's been a fan favorite for a while, but it's just people don't have a way to experience him other than Mark of the Wolves. And I think he was in one of the SNK versus games.
Yeah.
SNK Coliseum, I think he was in. Neo Geo Coliseum, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And also in later DLC, he's gonna get his dad, Geese, who's always been one of my favorite characters.
Mm-hmm.
He has. It looked like they redesigned him.
Yeah, he has more of he's wearing more of a suit type
Mhm.
thing. But I'm sure because they're giving out classic characters, I'm sure you're gonna get that classic Geese.
I need that classic costume. I'm wondering which classic they're gonna do. Are they gonna do classic with the gi or classic, no gi top? That's classic.
There you go.
No, you have to do the gi top. That is the classic gi really.
Yeah.
Classic geese, So definitely looking forward to it. Like we mentioned, King of Fighters, a game that's dear to our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
So much so where I named my son after one of the characters. Little known fact.
Little known fact.
Not ashamed.
All right.
Yep.
Well, moving right along, and because this is a video format, we're just gonna roll right into Fight Talk. for the first time. It's gonna be a little different.
Mm-hmm.
We are gonna be making adjustments to the podcast moving forward, but as of right now, we're just gonna roll straight into fight talk. We usually take a break.
Mm-hmm.
We are gonna do so in the future, but we want to make sure everything goes smoothly with this one because we didn't mention it before, but we've done this episode.
We've done this episode like 2 or 3 times now.
Mm-hmm.
So
slightly different, but
yeah.
So
it hasn't all been aired, so
yeah. So for people that aren't aware, like you're wondering where we were with the podcast. We've been working. We've been doing them. They just haven't been aired.
Just can put them out.
Yeah, there's been challenges along the way, but
one reason or the other, challenges do arise.
But at any rate, at some point we'll probably put some of that stuff out. We'll see. But anywho, getting into this fight talk in this beautiful MMA world that we love and enjoy.
It's, unfortunately for some people, Francis Ngannou stuff, we're ready.
And you know what? Because that stuff is okay, I think I may put that out before this episode, just so you guys can have it. But yeah, we're just gonna go move into just last week.
Yeah, because a lot of people are probably wondering, you were waiting for that kind of that info. How
yeah,
how
so
do we feel on that? Our take on that stuff.
That stuff's definitely gonna come out. We're ready to record it. We're gonna put that stuff out. But moving right along to this past weekend, it was a UFC fight night. It was on paper not the most exciting card, but it ended up being a pretty decent card.
It ended up being a very decent card.
They had a few bangers on there.
Hermanson versus Strickland. If you're wondering what we're talking about the UFC fight night. Jack Hermanson versus Sean Strickland.
With Sean Strickland, before we get into the card, it's just a character, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you, for those that don't know, I don't know if you guys been following Sean Strickland and his UFC rise, or his antics rather, but he's carving out a niche for himself, and it's not the best one. Well, at least not for me. Some people love it because that's their demographic.
I don't mind it because you got to do something to get noticed. You know what I mean?
And good for him, right? And there's some things he say where I'm like, that's great, that's funny, it's good. But
there is some things he says that's very offensive.
Very offensive. Not so much for me because I'm pretty easygoing, but I know it offends a lot of people, especially in this day and age. To the point where I think it could become problematic if he does become a UFC champion.
He's winning.
If it ever gets to that. But honestly, I don't. He does have a good skill set, but I don't think he's championship material yet. For example, he has to fight Izzy. I think Izzy
could handle him very, very
pretty handily.
Yeah.
But that being said, Sean Strickland does have very good defense. I was very surprised with his defense. Jack Hermanson, of course, being the grappling prowess that he is, he obviously wanted to get to the ground, and he tried many a times. But
but before we get into the main card,
we go the other way, right?
Let's talk about some other notable fights.
Then we'll work our way up to the main card, right? Because there were some prelims that definitely stood out.
Malcolm
X. Gordon, very interesting looking guy. Had a pretty, he lost his debut in the UFC. He won one against Figueiredo's brother to kind of bounce back into the win column, and then he had this fight, which was a very interesting stoppage, huh?
Yeah.
He attempted a submission, which the
guy got out.
But he said that he felt his elbow kind of buckle.
He felt the guy's elbow popped when he attempted his armbar. So much so that when the guy was trying to get back to his feet and he posted on that same arm. Malcolm said he
applied weight to it.
He willfully applied weight to that same arm because he knew that arm was done.
And it buckled again.
And it buckled and it completely dislocated.
Yeah, completely, and it looked gnarly.
It was
pretty bad.
Yes.
Very disgusting. It was one of the more gorier submissions. Because again, it wasn't really like a submission technique, if you will. It was just more a guy putting pressure on his arm and it just popping the opposite way. So pretty disgusting, but good TKO stoppage, I guess submission stoppage for him as well. And that was in the first round, so hats off to him.
And then Jason versus Phil Rowe.
Phil Rowe looked good.
Phil Rowe looked good as usual. He's gonna be a contender, I think.
He's carving out his his spot in the UFC.
He definitely is.
He has a very long reach.
He has a very long reach, and I've seen some of his grappling stuff. Like he does grappling tournaments as well.
Mhm.
He's good because that's the thing. Like when you look at his UFC fights, you don't really see a lot of
His grappling, his striking is.
but his grappling is great.
Mhm.
You know, so he's wherever you want to take him, he's ready for it, which is what a UFC fighter should bring to the table. So yeah, he won by KO. He landed some clean striking down the pipe.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason Witt just was not. Jason Witt, whose nickname is Vanilla Gorilla, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This guy.
And he did good in the beginning. Like he had a good grappling in the first round, but second round, Filippo
was just
took care of business.
putting him down him.
And Jailton
Almeida.
I mean, what a prospect, huh?
Yeah, he was just hammering.
I mean, he coming off of Contender Series, looked great there,
Mm-hmm.
hammered a guy out there, and came here and did more of the same.
Mm-hmm.
He just got on top, and he was just literally
Raining down hammer fist.
like Donkey Kong punches, just
Until he
almost
stopped
in rhythm. And the
Mhm.
guy, every time the guy turned,
it. Was
he
getting
was
it.
going for the submission.
Mm-hmm.
Guy rolled back around his back, and he just
Getting it.
drumming on his head, like. And this is not a small guy either. Guy's pretty, bodied up. He's
Mm-hmm.
chiseled, carved out of granite. Like, there's not an ounce of fat on him. And he was just hammering on this guy's head. Felt pretty bad for him. It was very uncomfortable. You could tell. But, so that was a TKO stoppage in the first round. And Alexa Davis did her thing against
Yeah.
Storyalenko.
Yeah, I mean, in the fight, Julia landed an illegal up kick,
Mm-hmm.
on Alexa Davis, and they made a very interesting point. Yeah, Alexa Davis, like, she could have taken the easy way out.
Yep.
Because she was definitely losing the fight. She was borderline losing the fight up until that point.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't take the easy way out, and she continued the fight, and
She won.
she ended up winning. So
Hats
hats off to her. Her style is a lot of grapple. Yeah, it was
Very grapple heavy.
Wrestle heavy, grapple heavy. She does land some strikes here and there, but it's maybe not the most exciting style, but she did her thing, and I was happy to see her get the win. Chidi Njokwani versus
Njokwani, yep.
Barrio. Marc-Andre Barrio, who is from Canada, and I think he trains with GSP's team. If I'm not
There was a lot of Canadians on this card.
yes.
Gordon
But-
being one of them as well.
Yeah, but I know he's Canadian. I'm not sure if he trains with GSP, but he does. I think he does. I'm not 100%. Don't nail that maybe down on that one, right? But I think so.
Mm-hmm.
But Njokwani, whose brother was in the UFC, was in the UFC years ago, and I remember him very distinctly.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to make bigger headways, but eventually he didn't and started losing, and then he was out of the UFC, and then I think he went over to Bellator for a while. And I don't know if I'm not even sure if he still fights.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the younger brother of Anthony Njokwani. This is Chidi Njokwani, and also came up the Contender Series, and looked pretty decent there. I was happy to see him get a win there because it's a very fun name to pronounce. So I was glad I got another chance to say it. And in this fight, did not take him long to prove that he is here for the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
All of 16 seconds.
Clean technique.
Just clean 1-2 down the pipe, and that was all she wrote. Landed clean on Barrio, and that was it. He jumped on top, pound him out. Not a whole lot to be said.
That's all she wrote.
And their fighting styles are so completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Because Anthony Njokwani was a kicking master. He had some of the more flashier kicks in the UFC back in the day. And Chidi is more of a... I mean, Chidi has some kicks too, but he's not nearly as... I would say not nearly as gifted or not nearly as flexible when it
Or
comes
as talented.
when it comes to the kicks. He does kick. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying he doesn't. But it's not nearly as flashy. But
Probably the funnest name to pronounce.
Yeah.
Both first and last name.
Yeah. 100%.
And his name is Chidi.
Chidi. I mean, that's some parents for you. I mean, I'm sure maybe, if I'm not mistaken, they're from Africa. That's where that name originates. So maybe it has a meaning.
Who knows?
But his name is Chidi.
Fun to pronounce.
Chidi Njokwani. And then speaking of Africans, you have Hakeem Dawadu, whose parents are from Africa, from Nigeria and Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Did work.
he did. He always looks good to me. Like he looks like he could be a contender.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason he's not getting finishes. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, he's going to decision. He's 13-2 now though, so his record's getting better.
Yeah, but he's just not finishing people. Like you see him fight, he is 100% all the time. But
Yep, very talented, very engaged.
I think it's just a matter of a few more fights. We're going to see him really dialed in and become the contender that we all think he can be.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, it was a nice fight by Dawadu. He defeated Tristan.
Mm-hmm. And then Miles Johns versus John
Castaneda.
Mm-hmm.
This was by submission. I think it was
in the third round.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not much to say there.
Not a whole lot. We're just gonna keep moving to
the main card.
Julianna Rosa versus Steven Peterson and
Juicy J.
Juicy J, man. He brings it every time. Every time. But this particular fight, he started out hot. He was guns blazing the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Tried to slow down a little bit in the third.
Hard to slow down in the second. And third.
Yeah. But he cleaned it up in the third though.
He cleaned it up in the third, but he was. I mean, he busted up Peterson pretty bad. Peterson had a nasty gash on the side of his mouth. Blood was everywhere.
He had a gash on the side of his head even. Like he was pretty gashed up.
He was busted up. It was a pretty bloody fight. But it was a split decision. Some judges. One of the judges gave Stevenson all the rounds, which was crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what fight were you watching? Like, you could look at Stevenson and see. I mean, Peterson and see that he was not winning all those rounds. His face told a different story.
Yep.
But whatever. Judges, I guess they see whatever they want to see, man.
Yep, and they got worse later, but we'll get to that. And then, of course, the Ultimate Fighter finale redo, I guess, if you will.
Yeah. Tristan Gore versus Brian Battle. For those of you who are not familiar, these two were slated to fight in the finale of The Ultimate Fighter, the latest Ultimate Fighter. However, Tristan Gore got injured. Brian Battle had to fight someone else, and he won The Ultimate Fighter. Tristan Gore never got a chance to compete for that trophy.
Mm-hmm.
However,
two of them get a chance to clean it up now.
And it was an interesting fight.
Yeah, I think the lights got to Tristan.
I think so too. 100%.
Because he's definitely a good fighter. He has the power.
He's
very skilled.
Ridiculous power.
But
very athletic.
He was just moving forward, getting hit, and not addressing it.
Not even throwing back mostly. The first round, he probably landed one punch.
And I think that ultimately that's what lost him the fight because you can see him coming back in the third round. Mm-hmm. He started to do a little bit more, and like if he was doing that throughout,
he definitely won the second round. He blasted Brian.
Yeah,
swelled his eye up pretty gnarly.
Mm-hmm.
And he was every time he landed on Brian, you could see
the power difference.
You could see
right off the bat.
I mean, with Brian, he has a great last name too, Battle. That's perfect for fighting. Mm-hmm. They both do actually, but yeah, he was just hitting and moving because with a guy that has that much power,
you don't want to get hit.
You don't want to get hit.
So he was just sticking and moving.
He was being more active fighter.
Every time he came in range, he was getting hit with something. Mm-hmm. Just getting out of the way. So it was good. Brian Battle's just gonna prove that he was ultimately the Ultimate Fighter.
Yep, he even brought his trophy.
He brought his trophy just to stick that point.
I'm wondering what he would have done if he lost. Would he have given it to him?
Probably not. Well, maybe you never know. He seems like that kind of guy to do some word like that, but who knows? But good for him. He's 8-1 now. And Tristan Gore is only 4-1. So these guys are fairly fresh in their MMA careers. Yeah. Not even just UFC. In their MMA careers, are fairly fresh. So the sky's the limit for them. A lot to learn, and then get better. So, and then Sam Alvey versus Brandon Allen. Which Brandon Allen subbed out Alvey. I'm starting to feel bad for Alvey. He's racking up those losses now.
He is putting them together, huh?
He started out hot in his UFC career. He had his knockout power, and he's known for his power. He has good hands, but he's just racking up these losses now, and there could be two issues there, right? One being that his his coach is his girlfriend or wife or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of strange. Not saying she's not a good coach, but that's just kind of strange. And two, he does he's kind of falling under that cowboy area where he'd fight anybody, anytime, anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times he actually gets to the cage. He's not fighting his original opponent.
Yes, he's had fight changes on him multiple times, back-to-back fights.
Multiple fights. He just fights anybody, kind of a thing. So he goes in there for the most part unprepared,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's what's hurting him. Like, ultimately, that's what's hurting him. I think it hopefully they don't. Hopefully, him being a company man and UFC recognizing that, they keep him around and they throw him a bone.
Mm-hmm.
But he is just racking up these losses now.
Yeah, and he's a likable guy. He's always smiling. He has his name is Smiling Sam Alvey.
And he even shaves a smiley face on the back of his head.
Yeah, every time he fights, which he's a cool guy. I like.
He has a good gimmick and everything. Yeah, and you can see him like he's a likable guy. But man, I don't like to see him lose like that.
I don't like to see him lose,
And he's being more tentative than he used to be too, as well. Because Alvey moving forward is a dangerous guy, but he's always moving backwards now and trying to counterpunch. And we need you aggressive, Alvey. But hopefully he sticks around in the UFC and they don't, get rid of him, because that'd be sad. Moving on to
this guy. Shavkat Rokbanov.
Yeah.
This is Carlson Harrison. Rokbanov, undefeated.
From where he's from? Kazakhstan, right?
He's from Kazakhstan.
Mm-hmm.
He looks Asian. He's from Kazakhstan.
Yep, one of those guys.
He's undefeated, and every time I see him fight, I'm like, this guy might be something.
Very scary guy to fight. He's always very calm. Doesn't say anything.
Doesn't.
Don't hear him talk really. He just stays calm, cool, collected, and he just throws heat. So, and he's pretty built too as well. Carlson Harrison is a guy I want to see do well. He's
from Guyana.
He's from Guyana. Trains out of Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
He has a very weird accent because of it. But great guy. He's skilled. He has heart, but he just got turned off, huh?
Yeah, Rokbanov is just no joke.
Just hits too hard.
Nothing more to be said about that.
Felt bad for him, but that's gonna be a scary guy in the welterweight division at that. So there's some matchups there that would be interesting to see. One of them being, what's his name fights there?
Who?
Zabit.
At what? What weight class you said?
Welterweight.
No, Zabit fights at
Middle.
Feather.
No.
Zabit is a featherweight.
Oh, I'm sorry, not Zabit. Other guy.
Oh, Hamzad?
Hamzad. There you go.
Hamzad versus
Rokbanov.
Shavkat. Both were names.
Yep. That's a fight.
That's a fight. That's. Oof.
But because they're pushing Zabit so hard, you probably won't see that fight.
You mean?
I mean,
Hamzad.
They're pushing Hamzad so hard, probably not gonna see that fight.
It's too late for that fight.
But that'd be a fight.
That would have been a great fight, though.
That'd have been the one.
I would have loved to see that fight.
That'd have been the one, but who knows? Maybe Rokbanov works his way up.
Undefeated.
They meet at some point. They're both undefeated.
That would. I don't know. That would be a great fight.
Hopefully we see it.
Oof.
And then we had Soriano versus Nick Maximov, who trains out of Nick and Nate Diaz camp.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of takes on their mannerisms too as well, huh?
He does.
The speech pattern, I guess.
I think you can see that he growing up, he was probably a big fan of them, and now he's just training with them, and
he's
now
one of them.
He's one of them.
Which obviously he hasn't had the wars that they've had, so he still has most of his brain cells. Sorry to say it, but he's still you can say he's still very clear, and I love Nick and Nate Diaz. Don't get me wrong, but you can tell that they've been through some wars, and their speech patterns are starting to struggle a little bit because of it. But that's why we love them. Those guys are warriors. But getting back to this fight, Maximov just showed his grappling.
Yeah.
He has the superior grappling. He has good striking too, and you can see he has a quick jab, and he does good work on his hands. But his grappling is
where it's at.
Is world class.
I mean, Soriano
did his best, huh? He had great takedown.
Great
stoppages.
Takedown defense.
Yeah.
He also had good grappling, but Maximov just would not be denied. He just kept keep going at it.
To the point that I think he tweaked his knee some way.
He messed up Soriano's knee somewhere. Some way, shape, or form, he messed it up. sure we'll get the details on that later, but
yeah, I got a decision.
Ultimately got the split decision.
Which again, it should have been a split, and this is where a lot of people are giving this particular judge. I saw an article that had his name, but I guess I won't do that to him. But yeah, people are asking for him to be fired pretty much because he gave the fight to Soriano. Which, how do you give Soriano that fight?
I wonder if he's the same one that gave.
That's what I'm wondering too, and I'm sure some a little research would probably
prove or disprove.
But again, I want to, because judging is a hard job, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But to get it that wrong is a problem. You can't get stuff that wrong, because then we get two dumb-dumbs like that, and then the fight goes the other way
easily.
And that's a problem. But yeah, people are like all over Twitter asking for this particular judge, even showing his picture and everything for him to be fired.
It's about time, honestly.
Judges need to be held accountable.
Held accountable, yep.
So hopefully this is a step in that direction, because for all the things for fight fans to be outraged about, I think judging should be priority. But that's neither here nor there. Hopefully something comes of it. But moving back to the main event.
Jack Hermanson versus Sean Strickland.
Sean Strickland being, the self-proclaimed white trash that he is. This is his terms, not mine.
Yep, that's what he calls himself.
And
we are not racist on here.
And he very much acts like it. So.
Yeah. He says he wants to be, the first person to kill somebody in the cage. That's his words.
Yep, and he in most of his interviews, he often talks about killing people and the details about how he wants to do it. And doesn't want to shoot no one or stab anyone.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wants it to be with his bare hands. Like he says stuff along those lines, and he calls reporters gay and they're pussies, and he says a lot of weird things, and he has a lot of antics, which some of the antics are good and entertaining, but sometimes the borderlines, uncomfortable. So, but that being said, it doesn't speak so much against his fighting style, because he does fight very well.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't do anything much more than sparring, which
his training is just sparring.
He doesn't work on technique. He doesn't work on anything. He just spars.
And there's something to be said with that, because it's not necessarily wrong. Because like if you work on one technique, all your life, you're gonna get pretty good at it. The one technique he's working on is actually fighting.
Yeah. So he's getting the reps in, if you will. It's good because it helps his cardio, because his cardio is great. You can see he was going for the whole time.
Yeah, there's nothing he could. Yeah.
And his defense was solid too.
His defense was, and that's because of sparring.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nothing you can do to him inside there that he hasn't seen. So he's not a whole lot bothers him.
Mm-hmm.
That's
he stays pretty composed throughout the fight, and he's always moving forward. Stays defensively sound, and he doesn't overextend himself. He throws his technique and he pulls it right back to safety, and get his hands up and everything. So clean fighter. Sometimes he gets into brawls, and he spars on brawls, but you can see the technique is there, and could it be a problem for Izzy? Maybe.
It's possible. Because a lot of what Izzy's gonna do is I don't think it's gonna bother him.
Izzy works on the outside. He does a lot of feints, but I can see him walking Izzy down.
That's a scary fight for Izzy, in my opinion. A lot of people might not think so. And initially I didn't think so, but the more I think about it,
yeah,
it's a very interesting prospect in my mind now.
And
speaking of Izzy.
Yep. Speaking of Izzy, of course, this weekend, and before we get into this weekend, this past weekend we had somewhat of an impromptu UFC fight, because we do show all the fights here at the lounge.
Mm-hmm.
We mostly focus on the pay-per-views, obviously, when people come for the viewing, the watch parties. But this was probably one of our biggest watch parties that wasn't a pay-per-view that we had in a while.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect it. I thought it was going to be a quiet night.
I thought it was going to be a quiet night, and people just kept showing up.
Which was great. I'm liking it. The watch parties are growing. Everyone's totally excited about this weekend. So I can expect a crowd this weekend, which is going to be awesome. Because if you haven't attended any of our watch parties, UFC watch parties, it's one of the better ways to watch UFC, because you're in a room filled with fight fans. It's not just people that are there casually. Everyone in the room is fight fans. So it's great.
Always entertaining.
Always entertaining. Sometimes you get a little hammered. It's fun times. But yeah, this weekend, big card coming up. Of course, the main event being Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whitaker 2. Of course, these two fought already. They're going to be fighting again. This time, it's going to be an interesting fight. I do see Izzy winning it, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as the first one.
The thing is,
I can see it going to decision, to be honest.
the first time they fought, I was scared for Izzy, and I was surprised when he knocked him out, honestly. So getting another shot at it, I am again scared for him.
Mm.
You know, because Whitaker is no joke.
He's not, but I can see this one going to decision, to be honest. Because I can see Whitaker using more wrestling in this one, and I can see it being very grapple heavy, but I can see Izzy getting to his spots more often on the feet. So, in your co-main, you have a very interesting co-main. Derek Lewis versus Tai Tuivasa, two fan favorites in the heavyweight division.
That's going to be a great fight.
It's going to be a great fight. I'm calling Derek Lewis on that one. Both guys are good. Both guys have knockout power, but I think Derek Lewis just has, the heavier hands.
He does, but I think Tuivasa is more crafty, I find. I honestly think Tuivasa is going to win this one.
Time will tell. That's why we watch. Then moving down the card, we have Jared Kainer versus Derek Brunson.
Also in the middleweight division, and
people are saying this is the number one contender fight. It could very well be, but I think only if Kainer wins. I don't see them giving Brunson another title shot.
Yeah, he lost to Izzy very handily, very easily. I say Brunson versus Strickland would be a nice. Oh, after this fight. Well,
you think Brunson's gonna win this one?
I think Kainer is gonna win this one, and I think Brunson should fight Strickland after.
And then Kainer goes for the title.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting. Kainer is another interesting character as well, but I do want to see him do well, so it'll be interesting to see.
And Izzy did
call for him to get
a title shot before.
Oh, a couple of years ago actually. But he just didn't. He win that fight.
Yeah, he lost the fight.
So we'll see. We'll see what he does, but that's gonna be interesting.
Kyler
Phillips, always entertaining to watch him fight.
Marcelo Rojo.
Yep.
That should be interesting. Bobby Green.
Bobby Green's in there again. That guy stays active, and he's getting better too.
He is getting better.
I like to see it. He's fighting Nasrat. Hasprat. Good fight.
That's going to be a banger right there.
Then, of course, your main event for your prelims, you're getting Andrei Arlovsky versus Jared Vandervey from the Contender Series as well. It's going to be a great fight.
Should be an entertaining fight.
You got Roxanne Modafferi versus
Casey O'Neill.
Going to be a good one as well. Well, I think it's going to be Roxanne's last fight, actually. Okay. I think she said this is her last fight.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because she's kind of, falling off.
She's definitely.
I could be. Did you say that, or am I just saying that?
I would hope so. Honestly,
I think it should be, and I think she did say it, but I could be wrong about that. But it should be her last fight, unfortunately. She's been in the game so long, and she's almost has as much losses as she does wins. There's 25 wins, 20 losses. So.
Exactly.
It's kind of time, huh?
It is about time. I mean, she's up there with Arlovsky. They both have 20 losses. Look at that. And then Alex Perez is fighting as well. But Matt Schnell should be a nice little banger there.
And then William Knight's fighting
Maxim Grisham.
And William Knight is, fireworks all the time. And a bunch of other and there's early prelims, and that's a pretty stacked early prelims as well.
Yeah.
You get about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fights on the early prelims. This goes to show you how much fights is going to be on this card.
It's going to be a long night, huh?
It's going to be a long night.
It's going to be a long night.
Ooh, it's going to be a very long night, dude. Are you seeing the start time for this?
I have not. No.
The main event? Main event starting at 11. That is starting at 11, sir. And that is Eastern Standard Time, which means it's starting 12 for us. So the main event is starting. So it's going to be a long night for us. I'm going to make sure I got enough food and water for the long haul. So for those of you that are coming to the watch party, take your time. We got all night. Because some people only show up for the main event. Those of you show up around 10. And those, you ship around 10. That's when prelims are pretty much starting. So
It's gonna be a long night.
it's gonna be a long night. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's gonna be fun though.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna look forward to it.
Always look forward to it.
Always looking forward to this great MMA world that we love so much. So, any breaking MMA news outside of that before we wrap this up?
Not a whole lot. I mean, there's still Dana White still can't be found. I mean, well, he's doing selected press. He's avoiding press conferences and stuff like that, but it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, because this weekend is
a big
major
pay-per-view,
so there is going to be a press conference, and he will be there hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Definitely looking forward to that.
But fans are been harassing Dana White.
They are
on his Instagram.
They've been
in the comment section for his
people are just pay your fighters. Like, it's unfortunately the world we live in where
people can do that to successful people like they know anything about the MMA business, but it's whatever. I feel bad for Dana White in the sense that to reach the level that he has and to grow the company and get it to where it is like the UFC
and face this kind of scrutiny.
Yeah, it's almost like people don't appreciate what Dana White has done, which I get the fact that people are saying fighters need to be paid more. I get that, but there's so many different factors that most people don't understand unless you're in business.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different factors, like market value.
That's a huge factor.
Which is the major factor. Like, how many eyeballs actually bringing? Like, you know what I mean? So, now granted, people are talking about where the NFL pays their players, but again, it comes down to market value.
100%.
So
100%, because you could look at a lot of the top NBA players, they're getting paid a lot because they're valued at a lot. They're
people know them.
People know them. Your average MMA guy, your average UFC fighter, you see walking on the street, you probably wouldn't even recognize it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
it's
that's a big part of it, and of course, it's a business, so they gotta turn a profit. Which granted they are, but. And I'm not saying this like I know so much about the MMA business. Mm-hmm. I don't know that much about the MMA business.
We don't. And
I just have a general business understanding. So I'm just applying my little business acumen to how I think a MMA business should be run. That's why I can come up with those kind of thoughts. But what do we know? I know people compare it to boxing, but again, boxing is different, and people think that boxers are being paid a lot, but it's only the top guys.
It's only the top guys, and that's
when you look at boxing undercards, they don't get paid at all, and nobody's talking about that.
Nope.
Everyone's talking about your Mayweathers and your Tyson Furies and these guys. Mm-hmm. No one's talking about that guy. But if you look at the UFC, everyone's being paid comfortable wages throughout, known or unknown. And people say, "How do I know that?" Well, it's well documented.
It's well documented.
You can look it up, and also. When Francis Ngannou he wanted to be a boxer before he started MMA, and his coach told him you're gonna make more money in MMA early on, throughout. You know what I mean?
Which he did. So now he's created his name. He wants to do boxing, but
just how you do it. Hopefully he gets it.
As that story progresses, we will cover it here.
Yeah, because I'm looking forward to what comes next in that saga.
Mm-hmm. It's a very interesting saga. But more on that later.
Most definitely. But yeah, I think this one's in the books, guys. First video podcast. Episode 1 of season 3. Looking forward to this exciting season. We got some new equipment here, so hopefully everything comes out good. Goes as planned.
We are hoping to have some guests as well.
Yeah, we are going to be set up for guests pretty soon. We got a completely set up for guests as well, outside of what you see here. So it's gonna be fun, man. This is gonna be a fun season. So it's a little bit more involved, but it's gonna be great.
Yeah,
I love it.
More working parts, more work to be done, but
but we got it pretty dialed in.
I like the so far so good.
So far so good, barring any hiccups, right? But with that, you guys continue to be good to each other. Stay safe out there. Isaac Boys out.
Peace.